I hear you, and I see you, and I am with you.
Budget talks are not usually this dramatic. Then again, these are not very usual times, are they?
You don't know the shoes that I've walked in over the 30 years that I've lived in Portland.
Commissioner Hardesty has a message for white activists who say her cuts to PPP don't go far enough.
I'm gonna lose patience with people that tell me that I don't know what I'm doing.
And things have changed a little bit since I asked Multnomah County's incoming district attorney this question. When do you start?
Officially January 1st.
Turns out it might be a lot earlier than that, now that the current guy says he's out. And all things must come to an end.
They're always going to be your teachers, and they're always going to be by your side.
Even the strangest school year ever inside Woodlawn. Here's the story.
Love the kids at Woodlawn. A big story. You're going to love the ones. You're going to love it tonight. You're just going to love it. I'm Dan Haggerty. Hi. Welcome to the story. Man, oh man, a lot's happened today. A lot. Portland passed a budget. We're going to get into that. Multnomah County's entering phase 1 in 2 days. How did that happen? Anybody know? I'm in here alone. I don't know. We're gonna talk about that too. Oh, and that whole mask debate from yesterday. Apparently the governor has joined the conversation. Hashtag Hey Kate. Maybe she watches the story. I was hoping she was a fan, but instead of weighing in on Twitter, she went a different route. But look, you don't need executive power over the state to have a say on this show. So get out your phones, use the hashtag Hey Dan, email us at thestory@kgw.com, of course. And as always, there's a lot to talk about, but we want to hear from you. And I want to start tonight with that big update about reopening. Because I know, especially after last Friday's last-minute pause, today must feel like a huge relief for businesses.
Just an hour ago, Governor Kate Brown let me know that she approved Multnomah County entering phase 1 of reopening on Friday, June 19th.
There you go. I mean, I know what you're thinking. I do. You're saying, Dan, dude, you've been telling us about these massive spikes in cases for the last 2 days. Are things really that much better in Multnomah County compared to last week? Well, the state says yes, but not based on case numbers. See, they're basing this on hospitalizations. Portland has not seen an uptick in hospital admissions, and so far our hospitals are within capacity. So we're good to go on to phase 1 on Friday. But there were 3 other parts to the governor's announcement today. First, starting a week from today, masks are now required anytime you're in an indoor public space like a grocery store, but not statewide, only in the counties that you're seeing on your screen right there, including all the metro counties, Marion and Polk counties, Hood River County, and Lincoln County. But Marion, Polk, and Hood River counties, they also get to enter phase 2 of reopening this Friday. They're gone from phase 1 on to phase 2, and that means that groups of 50 are allowed inside or 100 outside. Restaurants and bars can extend their curfews to midnight, and indoor and outdoor venues like theaters and churches can bump up their capacity to 250. That's not all, though. There's more, and you can find all of the there's more, the specific rule changes, on kgw.com if you want to take a closer look. Finally, though, the state is breaking us up into teams. You know, some counties will start working together in the reopening process. The 3 metro counties, they are now a group, Multnomah, Clackamas, and Washington. And the 2 Salem-adjacent counties are also a group, or a pair, Marion and Polk counties. But remember, this doesn't mean to let our guard down. Let's keep these steps headed in the right direction. The pandemic doesn't stop just because we are tired of it, and I know that we are all very, very tired of it. So for now, let's keep those masks on, not because we have to, but because it's the right thing to do. Our big story tonight is a COVID-19 story, but nowadays, what isn't? This one, though, is specifically for families. You know, the end of the school year has been challenging, to say the least, but it's also been very disappointing and very sad. Saying goodbye to a school and teachers that you love so much without so much as a high five or a hug can be extremely tough. That said, this story will make you smile, too. Kristen Severance has been bringing us stories from inside Woodlawn Elementary School all year long. And tonight, the 5th graders say goodbye and thank you during this surreal time.
My name's Cameron Green. I am 10 years old.
When Cameron said this on the first day of school,
I was like, I'm really doing this. I'm really going to 5th grade. I can't believe this.
she never imagined she'd be ending the year like this.
Hey, Miss Flores. I feel like it was just, it's okay to miss stuff in life, but I'm also gonna say I was upset, highly sad, and upset very much.
Sitting in the back of her mom's SUV, waiting for her teachers to drive by.
I'm happy to see that I get to like wave to my teachers, but also I'm a little bit kind of upset because I can't give them a hug.
But COVID-19 changed everything. Now, teacher parades are a thing.
It's about 4.5 miles, and we're just gonna drive with our hazards on and balloons and streamers and have the windows down and just wave our way through.
Woodlawn staffers decorated their cars with streamers and signs to celebrate the students, especially the 5th graders.
It's very sweet, it's sad, I'm happy, it's, you know, just a mix of emotions right now. I haven't seen them in almost 3 months, so.
They're like your children. You know, not only are they your students, but they're like our kids. So we're losing a part of our kids. They have a bit of a history because they are being promoted during this craziness. But we're gonna miss you. It's different, Kristen. It's different.
One of my students, when we left for spring break, was taking pictures of the hallway because he was like, "What if we never come back?" You know, and I was like, "We'll be back. Don't worry about it. Like, we'll definitely get to clap you out." And so, it's hard to think about this sort of virtual goodbye is how they're ending their time here.
Never would have guessed this in a million years to end on this type of note, with no closure and just kind of everybody in the rafters hanging. It's just a really empty, kind of weird feeling.
Come on, friends, on over here.
Instead of lining the hallways to clap out the graduating Wildcats for a final time, staffers lined the parking lot for a virtual clap out. The whole thing was sweet, surreal, strange.
You did it, Wildcats! Way to go! Off to middle school!
I was looking forward to doing the clap out.
5th grader Bennett has been at Woodlawn since 1st grade. We first met him at the back-to-school fair in August, days before the first day of school.
A lot of people have like childhoods here, good times here.
When he shared this,
I feel like I'm gonna have to step up and be a leader.
Bennett feels like he accomplished that goal.
I kind of like became more like serious at things, like not like more silly. I feel like I've been more responsible lately.
Mom Tiana says it's because of his teachers.
But to have Mr. Lowry and Mr. Clegg be consistent, active role models in his life has been life-changing for us, for sure. They know what he needs as being a young black male, yeah. Because there's things that I can't give to him, you know, and I don't know how to help him always because I'm a mom, you know. I haven't experienced what it's like to be a young boy, you know, and a young black boy at that.
5th grader Olivia has never known any school but Woodlawn.
What has this school meant to you? What has Woodlawn meant to your life?
It was basically like a family to me. Like, there's a lot of people who are there for you, and they'll always be there for you, and they're just kind to you no matter what happens.
Earlier this year, she talked about the importance of having teachers of color.
When I was little, I didn't understand what racism was, what any type of stuff like that was. But now that I've had teachers that look like me explain it to me, it's like a part of my history, so it makes me feel happy that they're talking about it now.
Mom Alicia has noticed the impact too.
She's grown from like, no, I absolutely want my hair straight, to like embracing who she is as a person and how her natural hair grows. And so I think that, you know, having teachers of color in her life have helped with that.
And Cameron can't imagine not being back at Woodlawn next year.
But I'm saying it's just a school where you get to be you. Nobody's gonna judge you. There's not bullies or anything. We're all like a huge, big family. We're the Wildcat family. And us Wildcats stick together.
Cameron lights up when she talks about her teachers.
Mr. Lowry, Mr. Clegg, Miss Howard, Miss Parker, oh yeah, and Mr. Blair. They're just like like my heart. Like, they tell me what to do. Even if that's not the best decision, it always turns out to be a great decision. And I really do truly love them. I love you, teachers. They help me through times where either I've just been very sad, stuff has been going on with my friends, I've gotten into arguments with people that have backfired. They've helped me with who I am as a person in life. These pep talks and these little small moments turn out to be a huge, big opportunity in life. They turn out to be so great because, like, they're so wise, and I'm just a kid and I always think I'm right, but I'm not. They're right.
Mom Ashley said Woodlawn made Cameron who she is today.
It gave her that sense of knowing, hey, these teachers don't look like me and they're my teacher. So at this point, there's nothing that I can't do. Having them, teach her and guide her and instill all these values into her are the things that she'll carry with her forever.
That is the guts. That's what keeps Woodlawn, is the diversity in teachers, the diversity in the way teaching happens, and just those connections that kids make. Many of our kids see someone that looks like them in a position of leadership and in a position of power, and to them it's a real empowering thing to see someone that looks like you be in that leadership position.
Congratulations, you made it during this last little stretch, and just hold on to this and learn from it. I don't know. It's a hard way to go out of something that's supposed to be kind of a milestone. But you're one of the original people that have done it, so it's kind of, that's your mark on history.
I would say congratulations, but I'm one that always say this is just one milestone in your educational trajectory. So don't sit here and celebrate too long, because you still got to get back on it and keep pushing, because we have middle school, then you have high school, and for me, I always tell my students you have college as well, and hopefully beyond that.
If you could say something to your teachers like Mr. Clegg, Mr. Lowry, what would you say?
Thank you for everything y'all done.
And like what? What did they do for you?
They helped me be a better person and helped me get smarter in academics, math, and learn more than I could ever imagine.
To know now that he's got to, keep go through life now without them, it's a little scary. So I'm hoping that maybe we can still stay in contact with those guys and they can continue to be active role models for Benny.
And what would you say to your teachers?
Thank you, just for everything you've done for me. Oh my God. Thank you. I don't know how to explain it, but I knew it wouldn't be right if I didn't say thank you, because after all that they've done for me and people who go to Woodlawn, it just wouldn't be right to not say thank you.
I would say thank you for everything. All the things you've done, all the things you didn't know you did. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, I'm sad. I'm very emotional about this type of stuff. But I know that it's okay. You just have to keep that head up, because they're always going to be your teachers and they're always going to be by your side. And they're always going to be there for you. So you can't cry and you can't tear up. You just have to keep pushing. You have to keep pushing.
Do you think you'll always be a Woodlawn Wildcat?
Yes.
And why is that, Bennett?
because it's in my DNA.
And what does that mean? Like, what does that mean to be a wildcat?
It's like, you know the song, how does it go? I am a wildcat, I am a wildcat. We are wildcats. We are wildcats. I am respectful, I'll be respectful. Safe, kind, responsible. Safe, kind, responsible. I am a wildcat. I am a wildcat. We are wildcats. We are wildcats. Roar! Oh my gosh.
This is the end of a chapter at Woodlawn. The year is over, the fifth graders are moving on. But this is not the end of our series inside Woodlawn. It didn't feel right ending here, because while the school year is over, the story isn't. So we'll be back in the fall to see what school looks like in this new world. Thank you for following along, and the biggest thanks of all to the families and staff at Woodlawn.
Thank you all. The budget is passed.
Took longer than expected, but City Council finally passed its budget. And with it, $15 million cut from the Portland Police Bureau. So what's going away? A mayor, a DA, 2 police chiefs, and a city manager. No, I'm not setting up a punchline. I'm telling you all the people in the metro area who've stepped down this month. When the story continues. You probably saw this last night. These are the protesters. For the second time this month, they took to the freeways, this time even more dramatic than it was time before. They're marching across the top of the Fremont Bridge, continuing demands to stop police brutality and violence against specifically black people. In the almost month now since these protests began in earnest, we've seen a lot of changes already, but different kinds of change. So yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order laying out some police reforms, but loads of protesters say reforms don't work. They don't do enough. We've tried that, and we need to do something different. So they want to shift money away from police and toward other services like mental health or social services. There's another contingent that wants to abolish police and prisons entirely, and a whole lot of people who feel a whole lot of things in between those two things. But in many cases, instead of taking up any of those ideas, a growing list of leaders in the Portland metro area have thrown up their hands and decided, you know what, they're not the person for the job. Yesterday alone, both Multnomah County District Attorney Rod Underhill and Mayor Shane Bemis of Gresham both announced they're retiring, both citing racial issues as the root cause. They joined Portland Police Chief Jamie Resch, Gresham Police Chief Robin Sells, and Gresham City Manager Eric Kavarston. They all resigned this month, citing similar reasons. Now, the Gresham shakeups, they're kind of tied to accusations of racism within the city's government. Gresham's Deputy City Manager recently wrote a letter to city leadership calling out racism there and a lack of support for him and other employees of color. Mayor Bemis posted his resignation letter on Facebook. He said he wants Travis Stovall to run for his seat. Stovall's an entrepreneur in Gresham, former TriMet board member, and he's a black man. And in his announcement, District Attorney Rod Underhill said, during my tenure as district attorney, we have sought to make intentional changes to our public safety system to reduce disparate impacts on our black community. It is time to do much more. He basically said he welcomed the challenge to make change, but didn't think it made sense to spend his final months advocating for it when he was about to be replaced by a guy who literally ran on change, and that would be this guy, who you've been hearing from on the story for the last couple of days. That's incoming Multnomah County District Attorney Mike Schmidt. He was elected to take Underhill's place last month, elected in a landslide, but could very well start this job a lot earlier than he expected. See, Underhill already talked with Governor Brown and recommended that she appoint Schmidt to serve out his term before he was expected to take office and take the job on January 1st, 2021. So it made one of my questions to Schmidt even more pressing. So I'll play you one more of my one-on-one with him now. How are you coming in day one? What's on your plate? What do you want to accomplish? What's the most important stuff you want to take care of?
You know, I think there's going to be some things that have been put on my agenda for me. For example, just dealing with the COVID-19 crisis and what that's done to our criminal justice system, our court system, backlogging cases. We're going to have to immediately figure out how are we dealing with not only a massive backlog, but just our regular day-to-day in an office that's already staffed very thinly. So I think that's going to be a priority of figuring that out. Obviously, police accountability is something that I'm going to be listening to community members and working on what are going to be my concrete policies on day one to make sure that this community is assured that I take that responsibility very seriously. You know, and another big thing that I ran on was transparency and making my office's data publicly available to anybody, just like I've worked on and done at the state level. I'm committed to doing that as fast as I can at the local level so that we can actually see when we're making changes like this, are we getting the results that we're hoping to get? Are we getting better off or not? But if you can't do that if you don't have the data.
Something else I asked Schmidt about was the city's plans to cut PPB funding and reassigning dozens of officers from that gun violence reduction team. You can watch our whole conversation. It's on the KGW YouTube channel right now. And really, there was no better time to catch up with the new guy, especially since he might be taking over a lot earlier than expected. And his answer, I think, is more relevant than ever because early this afternoon, City Council passed its 2021 budget, which, among other things, defunds the Portland Police Bureau by $15 million and eliminates 84 positions on the force. All the commissioners voted yes, except for Chloe Udaly. But unlike last week, when she also voted no, the vote didn't need to have a unanimous vote this time, just a simple majority. Udaly said that she voted no because she wants the cuts to go further. After all, activists have demanded $50 million be cut from the police budget. Now, when Udaly voted no last week, you may remember Commissioner Joanne Hardesty called her out a little bit, blasted her, in fact, for being a performative ally, as she called her. Today, Hardesty spared her colleague another attack, but instead broadened her criticism of people who say this budget doesn't do enough.
I have to say, for all the new young white people who all of a sudden are demanding equality for black folks in the community, where were you when Kendra James was shot and killed? Where were you when Keaton Otis was shot and killed because he thought, the police thought, the Portland Gang Enforcement Unit thought he looked like he might be a gang member? Where were you when Aaron Campbell was killed? I could go through the entire list, and I can tell you, you were not with me reading police reports. You were not with me advocating at the City Council for changes. You were not with me demanding the Department of Justice come and fix our broken police system. You were not present. And I want you to know that it is not appropriate for you to say to me that I have not gone far enough. You don't know the shoes that I've walked in over the 30 years that I've lived in Portland. And I am honored to have a seat on the City Council in this time where we are making transformational changes. There's nowhere else in the world I would want to be. But I'm going to lose patience with people that tell me that I don't know what I'm doing and I have not done enough for police accountability in this community.
She also says that $50 million figure thrown out by activists isn't based on any rational analysis. She says if it would have been, maybe she would have considered it. Worth mentioning, before the police killing of George Floyd, PPB was slated to get $3 million more in the budget, even though COVID-19, the pandemic, has tanked the city's general fund. So what is changing with the budget cuts here? Well, the gun violence reduction team will be dissolved. We already knew that. 8 new positions on the CERT team will be cut. That's Portland's version of SWAT because, you know, we had to name it something different. We can't do anything the normal way. It also cuts funding to transit police and the school resource officer program. And it shifts $2 million in cannabis taxes away from the police bureau. It also redirects nearly $5 million to Portland street response. Now, if you missed the show yesterday, Maggie Vespa did a great story on that program. It helps homeless people in crisis without getting the police involved. You can check that out. It's on our YouTube channel right now. In the meantime, we are going to finish the story after this. I wish we had more time. We're almost out. Only have time for a quick comment. Lloyd Lowry said, great feature on Woodlawn. Made an old man cry. Made me tear up too, man. I am a wildcat. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll see you on the story tomorrow.